Sorry about that, folks. A little bit of technical difficulty this week, but we're going to dive straight into it because we're running late, apparently. It's all good, though. So, as everybody knows, Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles tendon 4 plays into the first offensive drive of the NFL season for the New York Jets, and we're all, if you're a Jets fan, it's possibly the worst thing that could have happened. And I didn't say it last week, but I felt it. You know, when I was predicting my injuries, I predicted Elijah Moore and Daniel Jones would get injured this year. Just got a funky feeling about it. I had the worst feeling of all the feelings that I get when somebody's going to get injured. Like last year when I was like, oh, Josh Allen's going to get injured while playing against the Jets and the Jets are going to win that game. I felt that one pretty good. The Aaron Rodgers injury I felt in the fucking Hall of Fame game, I was like, this guy's going to get injured. He's not going to play for the Jets this season. And I also kind of thought to myself, like, the Packers aren't getting that first round pick. It's just not going to happen. I watched the whole game in the fetal position with my fiance rubbing my back and my brother sitting across from me. It absolutely sucked. And the whole game, I kind of just felt like the sword of Damocles just hanging over my head, just waiting to drop, where you're sitting there and you're like, we're in the game. We can win this game. You know, for those of you who don't know, the sword of Damocles is, the story is like, he was the king of some empire or whatever it was. I want to say he was the king of, someplace in Greece. I can't remember right now, but anyway, everybody sat there and thought it was great being king until they sat in the chair, looked up and realized there was a sword hanging over his head by a string. That at any time he made a wrong move, that sword was getting cut and falling straight onto him, killing him instantly. And that's how I felt for the whole game, where I was just like, well, we're in the game. We can win this game, but Aaron Rodgers is out for the season. So, like, no matter what, it feels awful. But I am not one of those negative Nellies. I am not a fan that sits there and says, oh, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm not a Met fan. So I don't have this doom and gloom 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe this season for the Yankees, but normally no. So Aaron Rodgers is out. Okay. Nothing we can do about it. It's in the past. Drive on. Move forward. Zach Wilson's got the ball now. Fuck it. We support Zach Wilson. That's it. You sit there, listen, I get it. He hasn't shown shit previously to give us that confidence. However, new offensive coordinator, all right? An offensive coordinator, Rook, that took your Jaguars to the AFC Championship game with fucking Blake Bortles.
He did.
With Blake Bortles. That was Nathaniel Hackett. He did that. I know what you're saying. Oh, he was a bad head coach with the Bears. Okay.
Broncos.
Great. Bears had a bad team. You know, if we're going to give Aaron Boone a pass because he has a bad team, I wouldn't give him a pass, but let's say we did, then we can give Nathaniel Hackett a pass for having a bad team. Who on that team on the Bears right now does somebody else want on their team other than DJ Moore?
He was at Broncos.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wow. I'm sorry. That's a bad team too. Shit.
It is a bad team. Russell Wilson was terrible last year.
I'm sorry. Wow. Same colors, green and blue. I lost my mind. But again, bad team. Like, who on their team are you sitting there? Oh, well, they've got what's his face? Their wide receiver that they got.
Jerry Jeudy.
There you go. They got Jerry Jeudy. Do I really care? Like, no, I don't give a shit about Jerry Jeudy. Russell Wilson didn't look good last season. They got Patrick Surtain. I want him. That's about it. Everybody else in that team, they don't blow wind up my skirt. I'm sorry. I get it. Some Broncos fans going to see this and be like, how dare you? He was the problem. We got Sean Payton now. Sean Payton obviously didn't do anything this week.
No.
So
It's funny because a lot of people complain about Hackett saying that his game plans and his schemes, it's not easy to adopt and adapt to and learn his play calling and the playbook. But I mean, it fit for the preseason for us, right? Because we have Aaron Rodgers who can adapt, and he's top tier quarterback. Now with Zach Wilson, I guess he's going to have to learn quick. But again, we get the win. It wasn't Zach Wilson's game plan, right? That game plan wasn't designed for Zach Wilson. It was designed for Aaron Rodgers. We're lucky that the Jets can do it with their legs. Breece Hall coming back was amazing. How about that run where I was like, oh, he's going in for a touchdown, and then he ran out of gas on like the 30. It's like, oh, man.
Torn ACL. What are you
I know, but it's just funny because you could see him just start like, guys, I don't fucking got it yet.
Well, also, if you notice, Garrett Wilson was actually celebrating, where if he actually picks up that one defender, he may actually made it, even though he's running out of gas.
I literally think even if he picked up that defender, I think he just like sits on the 10-yard line like, somebody just fucking touch me. Like,
I mean,
fuck
he come back from the ACL injury, so yeah.
Absolutely. And that's probably the first time that guy like stretched out them legs in that capacity, full speed. Because you could say you're doing something full speed in practice. You're really not doing it with the intensity of having somebody breathing down your neck, trying to kill you. So, I mean, you could run on a track your whole life. See how fast you run when somebody sets a fucking tiger loose on you. You're going to run a hell of a lot faster with a lot more intensity. So the Jets do it with their legs. The defense was definitely the shining star of the game. Very impressive. It's amazing because to reiterate myself, when we were having technical difficulties, hands down, the Jets have the best defense week one. Just for week one, I'm not sitting here saying that Jets have the best defense in the NFL, but as far as all the games that I watched week one, the Jets have hands down the best defense. And it's crazy because some of the games we watch, you'll say that game wasn't all that exciting and impressive because it wasn't a high-scoring game. Look at the Dolphins game, dude. The Dolphins game had like zero defense. So that's like, well, how Tua was impressive. Tua almost threw for 500 yards. I think it was like 450-something yards.
Fair. If you lock down Hill, he threw for 200 yards.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, still, the 450-something yards he goes to.
You work with what you got.
100%. But the Dolphins gave up 200 yards
on the ground
in the run game. Like, you're not winning anything if you give up 200 yards on the ground. Like, you're winning nothing. Dude, I hope they don't fix that problem because let fucking Breece Hall go for a 4-touchdown game.
Dalvin Cook.
You know
what? Listen.
Dalvin Cook, let him go wild.
I just want to point out Dalvin Cook didn't have a good game. He didn't. I'm not going to pretend like he did. He's also coming off a shoulder injury. He signed late in the preseason, very late in the preseason. Let him get hot. If by week 4 he's still not having good games, all right, then we sit there and call a spade and say, hey, listen, that's he's just not having a good year. But Dalvin Cook is still Dalvin Cook, and if anything, maybe he has the Aaron Rodgers effect on Breece.
Yeah,
I'm hoping. T, you and I were texting back and forth during the game with regard to Zach Wilson. We saw a lot of different things from him than we've seen in the past. One of the things that we saw different, his eyes were downfield a lot.
Yes.
He wasn't looking at defenders. He was looking downfield, and to the point where, almost to his detriment, where I was like, dude, get rid of the fucking ball. They're coming for your ass. And he stayed in the pocket. How much did he break away and run one time?
I was going to say, he stayed in the pocket, and it was like he was using peripherals, right? Because he was just downfield, whereas last year, you could see the progression of number 1 receiver, not open, number 2, not, and he just sack. He was just looking, where this year he's scanning the whole field, looking downfield, and just keeping his options open. And again,
blockers are a lot better.
100%. And when you focus on one receiver, you get picked off. When you do that progression of right to left and left to right, you get picked off.
He did that. He focused at Randall Cobb, and he got picked off. Bad pass.
Mm-hmm. That was a terrible pass.
One of the things that I do want to laud him for is a couple things. One, coming in to play in a game that you never thought in a million years you were going to play in. That shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have played. In a perfect world, he doesn't play. That's what you wanted as a Jet fan. You didn't want him to play. You wanted him to sit the bench. You wanted him to get the Steve Young treatment. That's what you wanted. The other, so now he has to step in 4 plays in. Who would have thunk it other than me? And he comes in, the whole stadium quiet as a mouse after being the loudest, the most raucous stadium, sold out crowd, most watched Monday Night Football game on ESPN in their short history as the hosts of Monday Night Football. And this kid who's been downtrodden, beaten by the fans, beaten by other teams, I'm sure he beats up on himself regularly.
The media, everybody.
That kid looked like he was going to become a school shooter last year. Okay.
Yeah.
He looked bad. He looked like he looked bad. That whole picture everybody kept throwing around where he looked like a Sith Lord. He had bags under his eyes. Mm-hmm. That's our fault. As fans, that's our fault.
He was probably like one really bad, like rough comment or article away from going total American Psycho on one of those milfs he nails. He
was Joey Gallo without the crying.
Yeah.
Like Joey Gallo came out and said, I was afraid to leave my house. Yeah. That's what we treated Zach Wilson like last year. And
at least he didn't come out and say, I don't think the fans appreciate the fact that I throw interceptions. Like Joey Gallo's like, yeah, whatever. I strike out 9 out of 10 times. That's not what baseball's about. It's like, wait a second, Tim. Yeah.
And Zach did it with class. Because if it was me, I'd be like, first of all, fuck all these fans. Like if we won the game, I'd be like, no, fuck all you hoes. Like don't like if he goes off this year, I think knock on wood, pray to Jesus. He just has a moment where Aaron Rodgers is in his ear. He just figures it out. We go on a Patriots or Rams run, right? Because let's be fair, the Rams lost Trent Green, right? I'm pretty sure that was his name, right? Trent Green. Am I crazy?
I think it was Trent Green, yeah.
And Kurt Warner, the backup from nowhere, he becomes a starter. They win the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. The Patriots lose Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And he was a good quarterback. People don't give him credit because he's not Tom Brady, but he's Wally Pipp, right? He got Wally Pipped.
Yeah,
Wally Pipp was a good first baseman before he got injured. He sat out that day.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is history. And maybe that's Zach Wilson's freaking redemption story. He goes on to be a serviceable top 10 quarterback, top 15. If he's top 15 after this season, I'll do a backflip. I'll do a friggin' backflip. Maybe that's it. I swear to God, if this kid goes on a tear and ends up going to the Hall of Fame, I hope in his Hall of Fame speech he tells Jets fans to go suck a dick. I really do. I really do. Because there's still fans right now hating on the kid. We won the game. He wasn't supposed to play.
Can I just say a couple things about it?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I thought he looked in Hard Knocks, he just seemed more mature than the year before. I don't know if you watch Hard Knocks this year.
Relaxed.
He seemed, relaxed. He seemed like he was learning from Aaron Rodgers.
It's easy to be relaxed when there's no expectation to play, though.
That's true. That's true. And the thing is, when Aaron Rodgers went down, I'm not a Jeff, I'm a Giant fan, but I honestly was like, oh no. Like I probably not as much as you guys felt it because you guys are actually Jet fans, but just seeing Aaron Rodgers, who we're excited to see him play in New York, go down after 4 plays, it was the most unbelievable thing. I didn't think it was real. I was like, this is not real. This is not happening. There's no way this is actually happening. And the fact that he's gone for the season is insane.
If you're a Jet fan, you knew he was gone for the season as soon as he went down, just so you know.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. But I do want to say the Jets defense is incredible. Just watching them, the coverage on all the plays. I mean, they're getting after the quarterback. They have a good secondary. Jordan Whitehead apparently has a incentive to get 3 interceptions, and when he hits $250,000, he's already hit it in the first week. So that Jets defense is awesome, and I think it's a defense that could carry you. It's number 1 in the NFL. I don't think there's anybody else better, and I think it could carry you to at least the playoffs. Obviously, quarterback play is important in the playoffs, but if not the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl, at least to the playoffs, at least a deep run.
Tim Tebow was able to carry a fucking team through the playoffs a little bit.
That's true. That's true. If you have a good defense, Ravens. Oh, was it Trent Dilfer, right?
Trent Dilfer. The Giants, Eli Manning.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's true. Listen, it's true. Anybody who doesn't want to admit that it's true is lying to themselves. Defense wins championships. That's a fact.
Listen, 100%. I agree with that. The defense those years were awesome.
The injury that to your point, the stadium's dead quiet. I don't think that's the correct response. The wind was taken out of our sails, and then the cook burned down the fucking ship right before dinner. That's essentially what happened, dude. Like we got bent over and just molested, like to no end. There was a line waiting to molest us because that's essentially. I felt like honestly, I felt like a Met fan. Like, is that what Met fans feel like in June, where it's like, oh, that's it? We're done? There's still like 70-something games. Done. Okay, cool. Like, that's essentially what happened. But at the same time, like, the irrational Jet fans on Twitter, like, I got into an argument with somebody who literally tried to argue the point, saying this is the most catastrophic injury to ever happen to any sports franchise in the history of sports. And I was like, dude, you're acting like they were going into the Super Bowl tomorrow and he blew out his Achilles and now we're fucked. Like, we're obviously our intentions are to make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers and go for a run. But if you're a stupid Jet fan sitting there saying we're like, you really thought, oh, we're definitely a shoo-in for the Super Bowl, you're a fucking asshole. And that's why we lose. Like, don't like, so to sit there and say, and my example to this asshole on Twitter was Bo Jackson on the Raiders fucking exploded his hip and ended his career on a playoff run. Like, I'm pretty sure that's more detrimental when you're actually in the playoffs and trying to get to the Super Bowl versus week 1 and you're acting like Aaron Rodgers was a shoo-in for fucking, MVP of the league. We were just gonna ride him to the Super Bowl. We were going 17-0 this year. It's like, come on, fucking stop. It sucks. It's probably the most devastating injury to ever happen on the onset of a Jet season. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that, like, oh, that's it. Like,
it's Vinny.
That's the worst.
I was just gonna say it's like Vinny Testaverde again.
But I will say one thing for all of us Jet fans before we move on to the Giants. It's not doom and gloom. This year's Jets are not last year's Jets. The team has gotten better overall. I do believe that everybody on that team, from the running game to the offensive line to the wide receivers, they can all help Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson understands better what his requirement is, what he needs to do as an NFL quarterback. I think that the fact that everybody kind of seemed like as soon as the injury happened, I saw Garrett Wilson walk straight over after that drive. Garrett Wilson walked right over to Zach Wilson. And they're talking. They're talking the way you would see Garrett Wilson talk to Aaron Rodgers about this guy's doing to me. And you saw the result of that when Zach audibles from a run to a pass. Now, was it the greatest pass in the world? No, it was not the greatest pass in the world. However, it was the same play that Aaron Rodgers threw a touchdown on the fucking Giants in preseason week 3. The same exact play. The only difference was he had a better DB covering him, a DB who did not turn his back to the quarterback. If the DB turns his back to the quarterback, it's the exact same play. And then you can sit there and hate on Zach Wilson for throwing it at the back of the DB. Garrett Wilson gets paid to make that play.
Listen, if you put it in a
fans that think the season's over, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive, okay? We're going to keep going. We're going to keep fighting. This defense will keep us in the fight. The Cowboys are going to get their asses beat. If your grandma lives in Arlington, tell her to move out now because the Jets are coming to burn her house down.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Doom and gloom is over. We move past it. There's nothing we can do. Aaron Rodgers is injured. Best case scenario, the Jets are successful at a decent capacity this year. Maybe they make into the playoffs, but you keep the same hype. You're essentially having the same team next year, and hopefully Aaron Rodgers wants to come back because I think he's a gamer. I don't think that's the way he's going to go out. Personally, I think he's going to rehab and come back. You hope to see after his surgery, maybe week 7 or 8, him on the sidelines, at least with the headset on, talking to Zach Wilson and guiding him, and just being that guy to mentally get him in a situation like, yo, dude, relax. We're good. We're good. I'm going to walk you through this shit. Be his Obi-Wan Kenobi, if you will.
Yeah, I like the reference, but he did come out and say I won't go through the whole thing, but he ended it with the night is darkest before the dawn, and I shall rise yet again. Proud of my guys, 1-0 with a plane emoji for the Jets. So I don't know if that's indicative of him coming back next season or not, but take so. what you will. Rook, talk to me about the Giants and what you're seeing there and how they spent $40 million and gave away 40 points at the same time.
I said this from the summer break. We were talking about, on the off season. I said they should have tagged Daniel Jones and paid Saquon because Saquon was the real motor behind that bus last year. So, It is not good. I would rather be in your position. You guys lost your big ticket not free agent, but big ticket quarterback that came there, big acquisition. But you have a solid team around Zach Wilson. Like I said, the Jets defense is probably the best in the NFL. The Giants looked terrible all facets of the game. They got outcoached, and I love Brian Dable. He was outcoached that game. Special teams was terrible. Field goal block that starts the game. I didn't even get to sit down before I was miserable. That's how bad this game was. I mean, it was the offensive line was on passing plays 67% pressure, which is the worst in the NFL. And not even that, they were 12 percentage points higher than the second place team. I think the second place team was like the Bears, something like that. But offensive line looks absolutely dog shit. Evan Neal did not progress at all. Rookie center. I mean, he's a rookie center. His first time he's going against Micah Parsons. They have good rushers now.
He's not though. Micah Parsons is on the edge. The center's not going against him.
No, I get it, but he's you're still getting your first taste of like NFL speed.
Oh no, listen, I'm not going to sit there and hold him accountable. He's still got to go against guys like Dexter Lawrence. Like,
yeah, I mean,
and he's doing that, and he's doing that every day.
Yeah, and I mean, the only person they said that showed up. Because I stopped watching halfway. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't watch it. It's complete trash. They said Dexter Lawrence was the only person that like really showed up. I mean, besides that, I mean, no one else really showed up. And that's a Pro Bowl, tackle there. He should be showing up, but it was bad. I mean, the rookie DBs back there. I think Hawkins had a really bad pass interference play.
What do you
besides the first series?
What do you think in the first quarter? At the end of the first quarter, the first half, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking it's the same shit all over again. It's just the same old Giants. They have not fixed the offensive line.
There's something I've never heard before.
What?
Same old Giants.
It's true though.
I've never heard that.
Giants. They've been trying to fix the offensive line for it seems like a decade, and there just has not been any improvement. They signed Nate Solder that 1 year. He was terrible. They paid him a ton of money. They drafted Eric Flowers. He was bad. And now Evan Neal's going the same way. I mean, it hasn't been good.
Quit on Evan Neal just yet, all right?
They were saying that possibly move him to guard because it might be a better position for him and it might be. His arms are a little shorter.
We need to give these kids more than just a season or 15 games or whatever we're doing right now, like in the NFL, where guys play 12 games and they're like, yeah, he's not an all-star in 12 games. He's a bum.
Yeah,
he's drafted high and he's not a stud, so he's a bum.
I mean, Andrew Thomas is a stud, but he got hurt in that game, and then they still played him.
I don't think Andrew Thomas started off hot either. Right? His rookie year, he wasn't anything.
No,
special.
He got better. No,
he got a lot better. He got a lot better. So give Evan Neal some time. The Cowboys' defense is not anything to sneeze at. They got a good defense. They do
have really good defense. They do. I'll give them that. I'll give them that credit there. I mean, the defense didn't do as terrible. If you think about like a lot of the points in the first half were from defensive plays. So like the Giants' defense didn't really give up that much until later on in the game when they were already gassed. I mean, there was one play they got the turnover. Dallas had the turnover. They gave up a field goal. The Giants gave up a field goal. Daniel Jones gets the ball back and he tries to make a play out of nothing and immediately goes interception. And the defense was just on the field, is back on the field again. Like, you're not helping your defense at that point. You're not taking care of the football. So they were gassed. You knew a touchdown was coming. And next thing you know, it's 16-0 and away they go. And that's it. But it's brutal. I think I'm not like, it's not great, but it's going to be, I mean, you're going to see how they fare this week against the Cardinals. And then
you got to win this year. If you don't win this week against the Cardinals,
they're going they're going over 3 because they're not beating the Niners. They can't beat the Cowboys. There's no way they beat the Niners.
I mean, they could listen. Is it a home game or a away game? I'm not familiar with the Giants schedule.
I think they're away. They're going to San Francisco.
That's tough.
And if they were home Thursday night.
If they were home, I would say they have a shot because the Niners come to New York and tear their ACLs, MCLs, and every other CL on our shit turf field.
Yeah. And it's a Thursday night game, such a short week.
That's tough. They got to beat the Cardinals, and if only because the Cardinals are projected to have the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah, exactly.
If only. If you had to pick a reason for why they have to beat the Cardinals, that's the reason. Not because they need it for their record or anything like. Because you can lose the first 4 games and go on a 12-game run, or a 10-game run, 11-game run. That's possible. 13, like you could do it. You can do it. It's possible. but the Cardinals are projected to be very bad this year. So if you lose,
Yeah.
that's tough, man. I'm surprised they haven't traded Hollywood Brown yet.
Yeah, the thing is too is like I'm not like, oh, the season's over, but there's no positives from that game to take away. You can't be
That's
like,
the
oh,
thing.
some of the rookies played well, or this guy, except for Dexter Lawrence. We know Dexter Lawrence is not really.
Are you worried about Darren Waller? He's got
Not
a
really.
limited
They said he was going to get that week off, not the week off, the day off each week for practice before this season, before his hamstring thing. And he said today, he said he feels fine. He said it's a little different than last season, but I'm not too worried about it. I think you're going to see a lot of Saquon and a lot of Waller this weekend, because they ran the ball pretty well in that first quarter, the first drive, and they went away from it once they were down 6-0 for some reason. They just kept passing. So if they can run the ball pretty well against the Cardinals defense, then maybe they have a shot this weekend.
And we'll see how that lands us. Any surprises this week in the NFL? I feel like there were Lions beating the Chiefs.
Well, the Lions beating the Chiefs, that was probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney being a piece of shit, it was not a surprise. So.
Kadarius Toney, first of all, he has no eyebrows. So if you see a human being with no eyebrows and they're like young, immediately distrust anything that person has to say about life. Like, I can only think of one other person that was like really young that had no eyebrows without like some sort of alopecia concern. That was Whoopi Goldberg. And I really don't care what she has to say either. So like, don't get me wrong. I like her movie. Sister Act is great. I love Eddie because it's the only movie about the Knicks winning. But
fantasy,
not coming to America. I almost said Coming to America. No. I meant Made in America. Love Made in America. Young Will Smith, Nia Long, Ted Danson's in it. Good stuff. But Ghost. But fuck Whoopi Goldberg beyond like her job, which her job is entertaining. Other than that, I really don't give a shit what Whoopi Goldberg has to say if she's not singing.
I think you're safe saying like fuck Whoopi Goldberg, like starting in 2000 on, because
yes. Well, no, she's in Homie Spumoni with our good and loved buddy Donald Faison.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is that like? Early? That's probably what, like 05, 06
maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So let's be safe. Let's say 2010 on. Fuck Whoopi Goldberg.
Well, basically, if somebody doesn't have eyebrows. And they don't have a medical condition, they are untrustworthy in everything that they have to say for the most part about life or anything in it. Who gives a fuck?
I was going to say, don't you watch The View a lot? When
I go to the doctor.
No, I only when I want to get rid of a TV. I go to the gun range and I tune it in and target practice.
So Kadarius Toney's a fucking loser. I mean, he is.
Dude,
he can't
total
catch
asshole.
Football. He defends drunk drivers and shit, and he looks like a crackhead. He really does.
When I
was a kid, I used to watch a show called The PJs, made by Eddie Murphy.
That show was great.
There was a character named Smokey, and he looks just like Kadarius Toney.
Oh my god! Yes. Oh my god!
Smokey was a local crackhead.
Can you find him?
I can. Find him.
That's so fucked up.
You know who actually played really well? I thought the Saints played pretty well against the Titans are pretty bad. The defense is pretty good. Derek Carr had a pretty decent game. I haven't seen
TJ choke like that since back in the day, B.
Yeah. You sure I should do this, son?
I don't know how big this image is going to show up, but we'll do our best. See if I can find it. I don't know if it's going to show up too big. But that's Smokey from the PJ.
Oh shit, there. Young Joker, there he is.
And I don't know. I feel like he looks like Kadarius Toney with no freaking eyebrows. Except Smokey has eyebrows. Like Smokey has eyebrows.
It's hard to sit there, right? It's hard to sit there and in a team sport like the NFL and football is, right, where how many active players do you have on a roster every week? Very rarely are you like, this one guy cost us the fucking game. Kadarius Toney cost them the fucking game by himself with passes right in the numbers on the chest in time. And he's just like, oh shit, what happened? It was awful. Dude, every time I watch that dude get a pass thrown his way, like if I'm Pat Mahomes, I'm like, I would have went to the coach and be like, yo, can you sit him and put anybody else out here? Anyone else? Like I felt like we needed a tin cup situation where fucking what's his name is just like, hey, can you carry this bag? Get out here.
Johnson?
Like legit. Yes, Don Johnson. Thank you.
There you go.
I was about to say Don Knotts, and I was like, that's not right.
That's Mr. Limpet, and he's also Mr. Furley on Three's Company.
Before we move on from the NFL, I gotta say, is anybody really surprised with Daniel Jones not being worth $40 million fucking dollars? Like, is anybody surprised? Their game plan last year, right? Their game plan last year was, hey, we're going to limit this guy and not let him throw the ball down the field. And when he does throw the ball, we're only going to let him throw it like 24, 25 times. And it's going to be short out routes so he can't get picked off because this guy is a pick-off machine. So it works out because Saquon Barkley literally carried the team on his back and got them to the playoffs.
So they tag him.
And instead of paying him, they pay Daniel Jones. Any fucking asshole can hand the ball off and let your stud running back run the ball in. They literally, like, on paper, if any Giant fan is sitting there thinking that this team on paper had a chance to make a playoff run or a deep playoff run and get to the Super Bowl, you're out of your mind. So if you don't think that $160 million that you're giving to Daniel Jones would have been better spent on your running back and then either picking up some random quarterback to get you through the year and making it to this year's draft class of arms, you're fucking stupid. Like, so, literally, you should have went 1-16 or 2-15, had a high draft pick, and called it a day, and then built from there. But instead, you're like, oh, no, Daniel Jones is the future. And I understand that, like, literally we're in a situation where, again, Giant fans being Giant fans, they wanted Eli gone and Coughlin gone the year that they fucking won a Super Bowl. 3 weeks in, they're like, Coughlin's got to go and Eli's got to go. That's all you heard. And then at the end of the year, we have to hear the words elite Eli. It's like, dude, you can't go fucking 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season and hate on this guy and then try to give him an elite Eli moniker. Like, cut the shit. I mean, but the Giant fans walk themselves into it because Giant fans are generally Yankee fans. So they have that fucking bravado where they like to talk. But it's like, did you really not? What do you think is going to happen anytime the Giants go down by more than 2 to 3 scores? Now you have to let Daniel Jones throw the ball, and it's never going to equal anything good, ever. The guy cannot throw the ball into a crowd whatsoever. The guy can't throw the ball into single coverage, let alone double coverage. Like, did you really fucking think that? Like, dude, you still have Sterling Shepard on the fucking roster. Why would you pay a quarterback?
He doesn't start.
Why would you pay? But he's one of your wide receivers. Why would you pay a quarterback knowing that this quarterback, dude, the Giants could have picked up Aaron Rodgers and they still didn't have a shot at the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, because they didn't have any weapons. Now they have.
Then why pay a quarterback?
They still don't have a wide receiver. Jalen Hyatt is a rookie wide receiver, and that's their biggest.
Why pay a quarterback? They didn't pay him $10 million. They're paying him $40 million fucking dollars. And I don't understand that whole. We had this conversation on Twitter. People are like, well, that's the going rate for a B+ quarterback. I'm like, number one, he's not a B+ quarterback.
Saw that. I was going to say I saw that, and I was like, that's whoever said that is high as a kite.
He got paid because he runs the ball a lot, and he got
paid because they got lucky enough to get to a playoff game, and the fucking Giant fans were like, oh my god, we made it to the playoffs. We're going on a run next year, and it's like, with who?
But one thing is because they got him to the playoffs, and then he won a playoff game. He only had 15 throwing touchdowns, which is ridiculous. And then he ran for 8. Like, why would you pay him $40 million a year? He's going to get hurt running the ball. I agree with you, Nick. He's going to get hurt running the ball, or he's going to get hurt because the offensive line is it just sucks, and he's going to get hurt. It's going to be bad. Tyrod Taylor's probably going to play this year, 100%. He's going to get hurt.
So I just want to point out, I am not wishing any, and we talked about it a lot, I'm not wishing any ill will on Elijah Moore or on Daniel Jones. I just get gut feelings about certain people, and like a good 85% of the time, I'm pretty accurate with it. I was already right with Aaron Rodgers. I didn't want to say it out loud. I didn't say it on the show. I didn't tell TJ. I'm not a Debbie Downer, so I didn't say it out loud. I felt it as soon as the season started. Before
you just didn't want to see me jumping off the Verrazano Bridge. Like, if you're fucking right, I'm going.
But anyway, we got to move on. We're running out of time.
Yes, we
do.
We are.
We can do a short. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do a short special about this week in the NFL. We're gonna release that.
Yeah. We'll do that.
What do you guys think? We're gonna do that for the
sure.
We're gonna talk about it because people want to hear about it. We're doing it. All right.
Yeah.
We move on. TJ, pick the next topic. Let's show it.
Ooh, let me go into this. Speaking of boom, let's keep it quick. All right, real quick, New York Rangers hockey. Okay, we're getting into the season. We're about a month away. The Rangers started skating, I believe, what was it? Monday or something like that.
I was gonna say Monday. Yeah.
Yeah. So a thing came out saying that Drury is going to try both Lafreniere and Brendan Othman at right wing and give him some reps there. But in the same article, they're talking about how it's very unlikely that Brendan Othman makes the team this year. And again, I'm sick of fucking saying it. Make room for the guy. And again, I hate this whole, but it's the Yankees tact. We're paying these guys and they shouldn't be on the team, but we're paying them $7 million. So they have to play. Dude, Barclay Goudreau, sit him on the fucking bench. I don't care that you're giving him a lot of money. I don't give a shit. Okay? Brendan Othman is not going to learn to play in the NHL by scoring 60 fucking goals in the minors. It's not going to happen.
Yes.
The guy can score 1 million goals in the minors. They equate to nothing. Because until you learn how to play in the NHL, you're wasting time. That's all you're doing. You're keeping your fucking physique. You're keeping your legs right. You're staying in shape, but you're not learning the correct way to play in the NHL because the NHL is infinitely faster than any minor league that you can go and play in.
Also,
so you're doing the team a disservice.
The chemistry thing is there too.
100%. And I get it. Like you already pretty much have your first two lines set, and you don't want to relegate Othman to the third or fourth line. But that doesn't mean you don't bring him up and let him go to the third line. He's not going to be a fourth line guy. You let him play on the third line, correct? And then you let him move up to the first or second line because why? Look what happened last year. Where did Chris Kreider end up for some of the season? So you can't sit there and say that your first two lines are set. If Artemi Panarin plays like he played in the playoffs, he'll be on the third line. So I just don't understand this whole, he's got a minor league contract still and we're paying too many guys and the roster's kind of set. There's guys on this team that easily can be moved. I would rather see VC not make the fucking starting roster or Gaudreau get benched and still pay him. I don't give a shit because nobody's going to take his contract. We're stuck with them. Then just watch a kid not develop year after year when he should be. Dude, Lafreniere and Kakko came up when they were what, 19?
20, yeah, 19, 20, yeah.
And I believe Brendan Othman now is 20 going on 21.
20.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. He's 20.
So it's time to bring him up and develop him. I don't give a shit about your roster limitations and your money being spent. Dude, you have a 50, 60 goal scorer the last 2 seasons in the minors. It'd be better if he came up and scored 10 goals this year than scored 100 in the minors. It doesn't mean shit. That kid could single-handedly win every fucking trophy and break every record in the minors. It's not going to matter. Nothing matters. Let him fucking develop.
It's an Estevan Florial situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're just wasting the talent by letting him stay down there. Let him come up. And again, saying, the injuries are inevitable and he'll be up. He shouldn't be an injury call-up. He should be on the team. He should be on the roster. You should be developing this kid because he's supposed to be the future. That's really all I have on the Rangers. We'll have more, obviously, as the season progresses and as we get into the thick of things, as we see them more on the ice and get into preseason. But that's my one thing that's just irking me a little bit about the Rangers. I want to see them develop and move forward, and keeping somebody that has a massive amount of talent or potential talent sit there and not get utilized is just irritating.
I agree. I'm just excited for hockey because football is probably going to suck for me. Hopefully not for you guys, but Yankees sucked.
Listen, don't be a Debbie Downer. The Giants can possibly do something. I don't know what, but they can do something.
Daniel Jones throwing for 11 touchdowns.
Listen, you got 16 more games. Anything could happen.
I know.
All I know is I'm a little offended because we picked up 2 extra viewers and then I went on my rant and they dipped out. They're like, this guy's just yelling at people.
That being said, Injured List Podcast, thanks for watching. Amen, brother. Spitting facts. Get these kids up so somebody agrees.
Thank God.
Appreciate you.
Usually it's just me screaming at the bathroom mirror and my wife walking out like, Jesus, why am I still
Through
here?
the tears, he's screaming. But I can't wait for hockey season. Obviously, as the season goes on, we're going to be talking with our buddy Dave over at Third Period Bourbon, Jason from MSG's and the Blue Crew 7th Avenue Squad. He'll be on the show during the season. Everybody loves watching Jason on the show, and we love having Jason on the show. So, we're going to bring back MC Jason. MC Sweaty Palms is going to.
We're going to have to go see him at the Garden. We're going to have to just invade and just I don't know, maybe even kidnap him. I'm going to bring a burlap sack in case we have to carry him out of there.
Absolutely. Moving forward, talking about bringing up the kids, Yankees. We'll run through that real quick. Very, very quick.
I got to do it. I love it.
I love it. I love it so much. It's such a baseball New York thing to do. But
Coop
the Yankees
nailed that
finally
one.
call up the youngins. Jason Dominguez goes on a tear. His first 5 games, he had what, 3, 4 home runs, something like that. And then, as the Yankees will do to you, he goes down with a UCL tear.
We can't have nice things this year. 2023 is the year of not having nice things.
No,
It hurts so bad.
Especially for him.
So bad. And I'm going to the game on next Friday. My sister got me tickets for my birthday. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate it.
Cool.
I love you very much.
Apparently, she doesn't love you if she's sending you to see that team.
I got choked up. She gave me the tickets, and it was like an open voucher. I could pick any game I wanted to go to that was on the voucher. I got choked up. I was like, oh my God, it's like the most thoughtful gift she's ever gotten me. Holy crow. Like, it's weird. My family has gotten weird as I gotten older. They give me things I actually want. It's so strange.
I will say they did bring up Austin Wells. I don't think he's not really hitting that great. Jason Dominguez had 4 home runs in 7 games, and then he's already getting Tommy John surgery. And they finally called up, as you said before, Esteban Florial, but he only got called up because Dominguez got hurt.
Yeah, which is bullshit. Which is absolute bullshit. I don't know what they were doing with Florial. And then you got dumbass fans sitting there going, "Oh, he already had his shot." 54 at bats prior to this call up.
It's insane to say that.
Kidding me?
It's ridiculous to say that.
54 at bats is like 11 games.
And apparently there was a report that said that the only reason why Dominguez got called up in September was because Hal Steinbrenner told Cashman, "You better bring him up."
I'll tell you right now, if that report is true, fire Brian Cashman.
Exactly.
If the owner has to step in to say, bring in your stud player, and the stud player goes and hits 4 home runs in 6 games or whatever he did.
7. Yeah.
4 home runs in 7 games. One of those home runs off of fucking Justin Verlander, of all people, who's not having I get it. He's on in his years. He's not having a bad season by any stretch of the imagination.
No, he's not.
A lot of Yankee fans would kill to have Verlander, his season that he's had thus far, on the Yankees right now.
Yeah.
If that's true, I don't know why Brian Cashman even exists right now. Pull a fucking Jerry Jones, fire that schmuck, because you're a better evaluator of talent than that fucking moron that he's been in charge for 20 some odd years and does jack shit. He went on a spending spree in 2009. That's the only reason they got a World Series that year. He hired a fucking 2 managers that don't know what the fuck they're doing, because I'm sorry, Girardi was not a good manager either. He was a better leader than he was a manager in the sense that he held his players accountable, but he downgraded from there too. Like I was sitting there going, okay, he got rid of Girardi. Great. Can't do worse than that. And bam, fucking hired a guy with no experience whatsoever, never did the job before. And now he's the manager of the most fabled and fucking mythosed franchise in American sports.
I will say this is a random baseball stat, because the 4 home runs in 7 games, they're like, he's the first rookie to ever hit 4 home runs in 7 games, which is like one of those, we were talking about the Nick with random baseball stats. They'll just randomly pick a arbitrary number and just say, 7 games.
I always call it a baseball stat. Like, he's the best hitter north of the Mason-Dixon line that plays in that doesn't play on an island in an open air stadium that in their home team wears pinstripes.
And the due percentage that day was 20%. But the crazy thing about him was it was his first 7 games. That's never happened. Like, it wasn't like the 4 games and 7 games, 4 home runs in 7 games wasn't the first 7 games. It was just 7 games in general for a rookie. Like, he did it in his first 7 games, which is actually
so here's my problem with the whole concept of baseball stats.
Yeah.
7 games is an arbitrary number, as is 4 home runs.
Yeah, I know.
Those are both arbitrary. Like, you just like, those are just numbers that you're like pointing out shit. Like, oh, that tree is green, that one's brown. Like, it'd be different if that tree is never green. Then yes, oh my God, that tree is green. When you sit there and say 4 home runs in 7 games, like, okay, show me the guy that hit 4 home runs in 5 games, or 4 home runs in his first 4 at bats. Like, that's significant. Like,
real quick before we run out of time, Max Scherzer done for the year. Most likely not going to be able to pitch in the playoffs.
The poor Texas Rangers. Their fans got real.
The Mets actually got away with a good trade. They actually got away with a good trade and got rid of that. Like, and I think it's still like just the Mets curse everything they touch.
And you think about it, they did not sign Jacob deGrom. He went to Texas and he's hurt too. He's not playing either.
I'm sorry.
I don't think Texas will ever talk to the Mets again.
No.
That's it. Nolan Ryan right now wants to punch somebody in the throat.
Bless Nolan Ryan, and we've seen him throw a punch. But that brings our show to a close. We'll catch you again next week. We're sorry about the delay. Again, there won't be any technical difficulty, but we're going to do a quick NFL show, probably be like a 10, 15-minute clip around the league. And we'll
had an epic rant before we
An
went
epic
on.
rant on
Just-
that show.
just to
We'll
say.
catch you. We'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Love ya. What is going on?